Okay, I was going to get into a bunch of huge new 9/11 developments just today. And there's developments like this every day or two now. Tens of thousands of them in triplicate, total black op attack. There is no way to deny it. Hijackers trained at bases. Embassies told they were CIA, let them in with security clearances, trained at bases. Heads of defense language school going public saying it's an inside job. These guys were U.S. spies. I mean, on and on. Drills of the same buildings being attacked. The buildings being blown up. The firefighter saying it was molten steel. Blasted off. Thermite found. Confirmed. The government's own reports. The sulfidation, the thermite, didn't know why it was there. I mean, but it's so big, they know we can never admit it publicly because it would bring the whole system down. People just, it's too scary. The government did it. Well, yeah, and they bombed Dresden and killed 500,000 Germans in one night. They bombed Hiroshima and Nagasaki. They sterilized half the Native Americans in the country. This was in the 70s. I have mainstream news, London Telegraph, where they go sterilize women in Africa when they go in to think they're getting a medical checkup. They just chlorophyll you and get in there and cut the tubes, baby. I mean, this is how they roll. And they're doing it to you. They took your blood at birth 36 years ago. Everybody born for 36 years, anywhere in the Western world, global program, you go in a illegal DNA database. I told you that 12 years ago. Now it's front page of the Awesome American Statesman going, yeah, they secretly took your blood because you wouldn't give it, but it's for your own good, and the Genome Project's got it, and it is related to race-specific bioweapon development, but hey, we got to kill you. I mean, you know. And the cops love it. They're injecting their kids, too, drinking fluoride. Oh, God, I love dying. I love the government. Hail the government. I mean, it just makes me sick that we put up with this crap, all of us together, thinking we're fighting with each other. Now, I want to go back. I'm sorry, I got a little upset there. I want to go back to William in Texas. William, you're saying you were calling in about the firearms issue, saying you were a retired Texas Parks and Wildlife shooting safety course, which is a shooting course, really good. When you went into your buddy, executive of American Airlines, I've had FAA people talk to me. I've had American Airlines. I've had other company people tell me. But it's on record that all four flights were at 25% exact occupancy apiece on a day where the East Coast was 89% occupancy, that they even had that average. Magically, these guys have been all these flights doing drills like they were going to take over, with James Woods reporting it, going to the FBI with the captain, saying, we think these guys are hijackers. The FBI said, shut up or we'll arrest you. Don't tell anybody. These were operatives. We have it in triplicate. But we've got new developments today, but you're saying, this is hearsay, but it's an interesting story, anecdotal. Tell folks, specifically your friend, an executive of American Airlines, explaining none of our fleet's missing.
Well, I knew there was something not quite right with this from the very beginning, and I guess that's what got my curiosity up. And when I found out through the news, you know, that there were American Airline aircraft involved, then I knew I could get to the bottom of it, because this guy's like my brother. He wouldn't lie to me, and he didn't. And he specifically said, no, we didn't lose any airliners that day. Now, along with that, my brother was an executive with Delta Airlines for 13 years. And one thing a lot of these executives do is they know people in other airlines, and so I quizzed my brother about this, and he knew some higher-ups in the United Airlines, and they did not lose an aircraft that day either.
Well, let me explain. They have the NASA facility switching planes. When you read the declassified Northwoods plan, it's how they paint up one plane like another, have CIA and government people. Notice how most of them were government. They were staging their desks to be part of the hoax. They get on the plane, it takes off, goes one place, then the drone goes another. But go ahead.
Well, the next thing that I got really curious about is a passenger manifest. And as far as we can tell, and everything these guys, my brother and my friend at American has told me, is that, you know, they don't have any records of that. So, you know, this sounds like a real elaborate...
No, that's Associated Press, too. They, the first passenger list weren't right. The new ones came out. Then the hijackers weren't on the list. There were other names. Then they were. There's all sorts of chicanery going on. Anything else?
Well, one other thing, Alex, that's very, very important, and I'm a cancer survivor. I have been through 6 surgeries, chemo, and radiation, only to be sent home and given 6 months to live. I have now made 16 years since my last chemo treatment due to studying and researching human immunology and health and nutrition. And there's one thing that I would like to point out, that this is very, very accurate. I work with a lot of people with health problems, especially more cancer patients than anything.
pH?
I beg your pardon?
pH?
That has a lot to do with it, yes. There is one thing in particular, the raw, unfiltered organic apple cider vinegar is the key thing in this, and the reason being is there are over 55,000 negative fungus in the world, and all 931 diseases cannot live in this raw vinegar once it's present in your body on a constant basis. And we take people, just like I was, that are sent home to die from cancer centers and cancer doctors, and we turn them around in just a few months by putting them on a particular program. It's real simple. It's a year's supply of it's cheaper than going to the doctor one time. But it works every time. We have yet to see it not work.
Amazing. Send me the information or write an article for us. We can't make claims, but you can tell folks your experience. Writers at Infowars.com. Write that up. I want to make sure Kurt and Paul and everybody are checking these and getting them posted. Writers at Infowars.com. Kind of have an op-ed piece. Thank you so much, sir. Jason, we've got multiple developments. You know, when we see this headline at Infowars.com, 911 FEMA videographer at Ground Zero goes public, and he's on record. He was there and has the video to prove it. But it's not just him. It's all these other firemen and police and medics I've talked to and interviewed, and police officers that saw them saying, get back, we're going to blow the building up. Then the CNN footage surfaces. People where the cops are saying, get back, we're going to blow it up. And there's our witness on the side. You know, years after they are telling us these stories, there's the video. People go, oh, that was actually on CNN that day. So we're proving right on that. The firemen saying there were bombs going off. Barry Jennings saying that mysteriously dying. All of this going on. And then we have the firefighters who found the black boxes, put them on four-wheelers. The Fed said you never saw that. That's in Philadelphia Daily News. That's in
whole book about it.
Yeah, Associated Press. Yeah, we've talked to them. The majority of victims' families believe it's an inside job. We've had them on. So we've had the heads of the biggest groups on saying the majority believe that. So it isn't just one piece here, one piece there. The truth is coming out. Bermas, tell us about these latest developments, including these planes all being mothballed until the special day.
Yeah, it seems that due to an FOIA request by Aidan Monaghan, he does more FOIAs than I've ever seen anybody. He gets a lot of great developments. You can see the actual documents the U.S. Department of Transportation sent back to him, and they are now claiming that the four aircraft that were used on 9/11 had not been used since December of 2000. So that means a 9-month window between all the planes actually being used. And that doesn't seem to coincide with what they put on the Internet. There's a separate Internet regulation list where these planes were scheduled to fly on September 10th.
And there's the Department, yeah, and there's the Department of Transportation's internal document with all the information. But the issue here is, notice, right when Bush gets in, they decide to go with the operation, and that's when they go into mothball and start preparing them, exactly as the Northwoods plan called for, exactly how we document in martial law. They could have had two different programs going on simultaneously. Continue, Bermas.
Yeah, I mean, I just thought this was, something we had to report on. Obviously, the insinuation here is that they may have been fitted with Global Hawk technology if it wasn't already present. We knew Global Hawk technology. You covered that in Masters of Terror and Road to Tyranny.
Well, remember Bush, a day after the attack, he's in New York, and he's given a speech, and he says, we've got systems for remote control where this won't happen anymore. And the person behind him grabs him by the arm and says, stop it.
Yeah.
And he goes, we got to find that video. I saw it live on TV. Since the 60s, they've had big jumbo jets taking off and landing, flying from California to Australia.
Well, if you listen to the Northwoods plan, I mean,
Joe Kennedy Jr. died, the firstborn.
Yes.
He died remote controlling. He had a chase plane in I think it was a P-38 Lightning, chasing another B-17 loaded with explosives as a cruise missile. Mm-hmm. The Germans weren't the only ones that had these, the V-1s, V-6s. The point is, they've had remote control aircraft since World War II.
Oh, by far. And like I said, read the Northwoods document. Like you said, these people...
They say remote control.
Well, they say U.S. military on what seems to be a commercial flight. They put that flight in the air. Then they have another flight the same way, painted up. That's remote control. Then the remote control doesn't stop there. They are also going to remote control a painted up Russian MiG fighter. And that remote controlled aircraft is the one that shoots down the other remote controlled aircraft. Wait, it's even crazier, folks. Read the documents. Then somebody else is going to drop debris over a field while a drill is taking place. So the people taking part in the drill see the debris over the field, and they believe it's a real attack. That's how elaborate and compartmentalized that plan was.
And to have Marines attack U.S. Army bases and blame it on the Russians. Now, stopping there, let's remember Hitler did this. The British constantly did this for 300 years. It's called false flag. Now, in West Point training for higher-level officers, of people that are taking that training to try to go for that later in life, in the strategic operation, there is pawn sacrifice or even higher peace sacrifice. And it's a classic thing going back to Alexander the Great. You'll deploy a smaller group knowing they're going to get overwhelmed and killed. And you do that to draw the enemy out, not being able to resist crushing that smaller force. Now you can have your troops come up over both the hills and encircle the enemy with your main force. There's many different variants of this where you'll say, kill 10,000 of our soldiers, use them as bait. It's just standard military ops. So they said, look, we're going to have to kill a lot of Americans. It's what we need to do for our empire. And they just did it. And this is how it's done. And then it got released 2 years ago. Rumsfeld, with the top generals, the retired generals,